Happy New Month and welcome to Good Morning Anambra episodes. Today is the first day, Good Morning Anambra show. Today's episode, of course, is the first day of March in the year 2024. How time flies, you're already in March. Thank you so much for always waking up with Good Morning Anambra every day of the week. My name is Nonye Nwokoye. We are glad to have you join us as usual today. Remember, our program is audience participatory. We expect you to drop your comments for us on our Facebook page when we raise any issue of importance to you this morning. All right, let's begin the show with the press review. All right, thank you so much for joining us on the press review this morning. I have a guest already seated, as you can see, in the studios. He is none other than a public affairs analyst, also a lecturer at Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka. He is Comrade Dr. Ifeanyi David Emeka. You're welcome to the studio.
Good morning to you, madam.
You're welcome. All right,
Today is the first day of March.
Yes. Happy New Month.
Happy New Month to you too.
All right, we have a lot of papers to take a look at, and of course, as we look at the papers, we see what the headlines are saying. The first paper for review is the Daily Times newspaper. Let's see stories making their headlines in front of the Daily Times. Tinubu decries frequent labor strikes, vows to end corruption. Tinubu decries frequent labor strikes, vows to end corruption. We have other stories. Draft report of Constitution amendment ready August. Federal government moves to tap into $350 billion global outsourcing market. Now, troops eliminate 974 terrorists in February. That's a report coming from Defense Headquarters. Okay, reps to probe CBN discourse over meter funds. And fuel scarcity looms as Russia halts petrol exports to Nigeria. Others. Now, youth protests, bandit attacks, block Abuja, Kaduna highway. A lot of things happening at the same time in this country. Honestly, I don't know.
honestly, it is as if the country want to collapse at a time. It's as if everything is jamming up together. But the truth is that we have always believed that times have always come with challenges. Things will still change over time. Only that we have to change. We can't continue to apply the same approach and expect a different result. Like when I think the first headline was Tinubu frown over.
Decries frequent labor strikes, vows to end
labor
corruption.
Strike. It has seemed like over a long period of time that labor and labor union and every other union in Nigeria, the only major source of communication to the government have been strike. Because Nigeria has been like a military command where dialogue don't usually work.
But look at it. In the face of I was just talking to myself, actually, in the face of the present challenge, just like you said that life will be full of challenges and to change over time.
Of course.
But in the face of this present challenge, do we need to tell who matters in the leadership, in the corridors of power in this country, what to do for the people they are leading? Because part of what the labor is agitating for now is to upward review of minimum wage.
Of minimum wage.
Because everything is going up except the salaries
of workers. And the workers are bearing the brunt. The workers are the lowest cadre, they are bearing the brunt. They are not like businessmen. They are not that once everything changed, they change their own policies too. It is affecting the workers badly. And the only way they could communicate is to show that they are angry. To show that they are angry. The only way they could communicate is to show a form of going on strike or protesting. Because truly, whether Labour is protesting or not, ordinary Nigerians are also protesting. Ordinary Nigerians are angry. And Labour stands like a representative of ordinary Nigeria. So, but what we played, well, as we said, is it proper for them to talk to the president over what they want? Yes. If you elect somebody, if we choose somebody to be our leader, why shouldn't we say
no,
this
I
is
didn't
for
say
them?
is it proper. I said what I was asking, you know, do we need to, that in the
To
face
remind
of
them,
challenges,
in the face
you
of
know, there are
challenges.
things they should just do,
Of course.
you know, to ameliorate the plight of the people.
Of course, there are. But you know that sometimes I used to, like you said, talking to yourself, as sometimes I used to talk to people too. Sometimes these our leaders are no longer in the level of hierarchy of needs. When we talk about maybe like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, they are no longer in that level of need where we are, where ordinary Nigerians are today. Maybe you can see them, the level of need they have attained, it has been high, that they are no longer talking about basic needs, which is food, clothing, and shelter.
Housing.
They are not longer. So if you are telling them that people are feeling hungry, sometimes they don't used to understand it.
Okay.
That's just the truth. That's the gap in
All right,
Nigeria.
let's look at the second paper for this morning, the Punch newspaper. Let's see stories making their headlines in front of the Punch newspaper, and we can see 50 boldly written in front of that paper. That's to show that Punch is celebrating 50 years anniversary. We say congratulations to them. All right, past confab. Okay, Punch at 50. Past confabs deceitful. Nigeria must decentralize, says Shoyinka, with riders there. Past confabs organizers not serious. Nigerians must negotiate their unity, Nobel laureate. Now, Punch celebrates 50 years of impact at anniversary lecture. Federal government vows to end hardship. Now, the picture is Professor Wole Soyinka. I don't know, I think it's that the celebration of Punch, because I learned he was going to be the speaker at
yes.
at that event. Now, customs seized 1.7 billion naira fake drugs in Oyo, Osun. Federal government pays $120 million from gas debts as blackout spreads. Reps raised 23-man panel on Oronsaye report, demand review. I don't know what is going to happen with this Oronsaye. Some people are, you know, are for it, some people are against it, and what have you, you know.
Let me start with, if we talk about people being against it, maybe my own point of contesting with this Oronsaye report is that I think it's over 12 years. Now, a lot of things have changed over time. If it was implemented at that very point, it would have been okay.
In other words, you're supporting the review, because
Yes,
when they
I
review, they see
strongly
things
believe,
to remove, things
there
to add.
Thank you.
Okay.
There are things to remove, there are things to add, because the challenges we were as of 12 years ago is not what we are presently facing today. Now, like some people are building opinion. I was at the news yesterday. I saw where a former presidential candidate of Labour Party, Peter Obi, was saying if ministries are to match together, that a lot of people will lose job. And if more people lose job in the challenges facing Nigeria today, I don't know what is going to be.
Okay, when people lose job, added with the sufferings in the land. Okay, now let's move to the next paper. Let's see stories making their headlines in front of the Vanguard newspaper. We take a look at the Vanguard newspaper. Okay, confusion over name BVN link to bank account. All right, we have a rider there. CBN mom over deadline as customers lament network failure. Nigeria imports $4 billion worth of steel annually, says Minister. Tinubu's NLC, it's unacceptable to judge me in 9 months. Hardship, government should stop taking us for a ride, Shoyinka speaking. Attack on policemen in Delta, 15 missing, another body recovered. MPC's decision to raise MPR, CRR will further worsen economic woes. Okay, other stories. Edo Guba, how OTLP National Working Committee reconciled aggrieved aspirants with Abata. Nigeria's economy on track. That's American City Mayor. We also have other stories. We have other stories on sports in front of the Vanguard newspapers. Okay, quickly. I don't know which of the stories you're reacting to.
Well, maybe we can still start with confusion over name, BVN, link, with
Wahala
bank
everywhere.
accounts. Honestly, wahala everywhere.
Some people are just hearing that yesterday. Some people are
Okay.
getting to
Well,
get the information yesterday. So how do they go about
how
to do
they go
it?
about it? Even if they go now, if you get to any NIN office now, like the one in Anambra State, you will discover a large population of people are waiting. Maybe the network is not very strong.
Network has not been strong since
Network has
2
not been
days
strong
ago.
since 2 days ago. So people are feeling frustrated. People, because system that ought to have been working functionally on its own without stress. And I don't know, maybe Nigerian atmosphere has also have a way of hampering our networks. Like, so Nigeria, I think the federal government should extend a little more time. It is necessary that they extend a little time so that due to this network issue, people will be carried along. People will not feel frustrated.
All right, now Shoyinka on the news.
Again.
Shoyinka says hardship, government should stop taking us for a
For a
ride. I
ride.
wonder what he meant for that.
A lot of people, if you read over the internet, a lot of people have been calling me out that during Jonathan's administration, that
He carried placard.
he carried placard, he joined the protest. Now, nobody have heard about him. Before he came out before this event, no. Yes, people like last week.
Even during the election that brought this administration on board, there's been,
Of course, up and down. People have been hinting, trying to side talk and like, why is he no longer talking, or is he comfortable with what Nigeria is now? So at least I am happy, and at least he has come out again to still declare. From his statement now, it is now obvious that he still observes that things are not working the way it ought to be. So the only thing I will urge, and I will still pray that the way he carried placard the other time, even if he didn't carry placard this time around, let him be more outspoken.
Okay, the Tinubu is talking to the Nigerian Labour Congress.
Yes, he said that
it's unacceptable to judge me
within
in
9
months. But within 9 months,
If
Nigeria...
9 months, it takes 9 months to give birth to a child. So if somebody cannot assess you within 9 months, I don't think it is I don't think that any assessment that cannot be done within 9 months, I don't think is very, very okay. So for him to have said that we wouldn't have judged him, at least, not that he will get everything right, but let people see that the pathway we are going, that this pathway will lead us to somewhere.
That will see light.
That will see light through this pathway. Honestly.
All right, we are moving on to the Daily Independent newspaper. That's the next paper for review now. Protest strikes 9 months into new government unacceptable. That's coming from, we'll just talk about it now. Okay, there are riders on that story. It says, once Labour, they are not the only voice in Nigeria. Opens red line, says Lagos example of how vision exalts democracy. To flag off distribution of 42,000 metric tons of grain next week. And some people are actually complaining that it is not grains that we need. I've seen people talk about that they don't need grain. Is it possible for the government of Nigeria to start to ask her citizens, what do you need?
Of course.
Is it possible?
Yes, it is possible.
All right.
Roundtable discussions.
All right, now let's see other stories. Troops kill 974 terrorists in February, arrest 621. Go beyond implementation of Oronshaye's report. Obi tells Tinubu, says politicians should sacrifice comfort, selfishness, cut wastages. Is still on his way, the way he speaks, cut down the cost of governance. Okay, FG states chart way forward on regular power supply. Tinubu listening to Nigerians, reviewing policies to make life better, coming from the minister. Okay, now let's look at the issue of whether there's any possibility of Nigerian government to ever in their life seek the minds of the people they lead before they do anything for them. Like a lot of people are angry on the social media. They say we don't need grains, but the federal government is saying they're going to distribute grains next week.
Because that is what they have now. That is what the federal government have now.
Okay.
And so even though it is not very proper, if you give grains, how long are they going to eat it? It ends. What the masses are expecting is a sustainable solution.
Some said, give us enabling environment.
And
it's
that
part
is
of what I
enabling environment. Like I want to touch a little on the issue of security,
Okay.
the military. You are talking about some issues.
The killing of troops, killing 974 terrorists in February.
Yes, of course, it is a welcome development, but we will still encourage. We will still say that we are expecting more from the military, because you know that insecurity is one of the major causes of food insecurity, food scarcity in Nigeria. Because a lot of people can't go to farm. If you are moving, even people who acquired lands, if you want to go around there, you will look for somebody so that you will not be kidnapped. It is happening all over Nigeria, not just in the north.
Okay. Now, can we look at this statement coming from our own Peter Obi? Anybody that listens to Peter Obi over the years has been cut down the cost of governance, cut the cost of governance and let things, carry. Now he says, go beyond implementation of Oronsaye's report. Obi tells Tinubu, says, politicians should sacrifice comfort, selfishness, and cost wastages. Is that possible with Nigerian politicians? Do we see that happening?
I strongly doubt, because I think there was a report yesterday from the Speaker of House of Representatives, the Deputy Speaker, where he was saying that their salary is not enough for the kind of suffering.
Yes, I think I saw that story.
So even while Peter was going on saying to cost wastages, cause the cost of governance, which is the major problem in Nigeria, because our current expenditure is too high. So, but these rep members and our representative people in government, our politicians, they feel that they should earn more. That is why it is very difficult. But Mr. Peter Obi have been hinting on two words: cost of governance and go into production. I think these are the two. That is why he said we should go beyond Oronsaye's report, because one, when you cut the cost of governance, reduce match some ministries, make these things, but you must go into production, because if we don't produce, if we don't export, there's no how we can add more dollars, and Naira may not appreciate.
All right. I don't know. Let me quickly take other stories that are in front of that Daily Independent. NCAA sets up 10-man committee to monitor high cost of air tickets. Nigeria imports $4 billion worth of steel annually, says minister. Reps want mandatory drug test for secondary school students. A Senate makes U-turn, extends service years for NAS directors. Okay, Tinubu's 4 out of 5 nominees as CBN Board of Directors. Ethiopian Airline launches a $55 million e-commerce logistics hub in Addis Ababa. Now, I don't know. I'm passionate because I'm a mother. To think that in this generation there should be tests to be conducted on secondary school students, concerning the issue of taking drugs. In fact, somebody was saying that even in primary schools that they smoke these days, and I was like shocked. What are we doing as families, our kids in primary school, you don't even talk about university, but in primary school, secondary school. So what actually is going on with this society?
Honestly, our society,
and what do
we have always people like us who have always been in social environment, have always agitated or encouraged or talk about our cultural engineering, our family. We have to go back to our family's social system. We have values. But the problem now is that parents of these days, young parents of these days, prefer the school to train the child, instead of them being part of taking care of the child. what am I trying to say? A child leaves for school by 7 a.m.
There is a saying in Igbo language that
he considers his own personally first before the others. No matter how fantastic a teacher is, that is why I have always agitated. I will talk to people. The other day when we worked for Parent Teachers Association, I was telling the proprietors that any school a teacher is teaching, his child ought to be in that school. If a teacher doesn't find the school not worthy enough for the child to be there, then something is wrong. Then the teacher is not teaching properly. There is something wrong with the system. That is also applicable to our parents. How can you take a child to the school, you leave the child, a little child that is sometimes below 2 years, you leave the child there to 5, 6 in the evening. So when is the child going to acquire the family value? When the child going to know that this is what our family do, this is what our family do not do? You know, our growing up, there are some things we want to do. Your father will say, I think he sends some signals. He tells you that these things you are now living a life, you are not trying to live a life that is
not your way or your family's
connotation with the norms and the values of the family. But it is no longer there. You know, honestly, there is need for social engineering. Drug use is high. I mean, the university system. The one that bothers me much is among young girls.
All right, I think it's that's a big story, a big topic for another day. Now let's look at the Daily Sun newspaper. Let's see stories making their headlines in front of the Daily Sun. All right, Tinubu angry with NLC, says calling for strikes in 9 months unacceptable, vows to continue with reforms and fight corruption. Commission's red lines in Lagos. Nigeria must be decentralized. That's coming from Shoyinka. President's reforms, good for country, information minister. Okay, other stories. Peter Obi slams CBN's new interest rate. CRR hikes, warns of more economic hardship, job losses for Nigerians. Benue confirms 9 deaths, 46 cases of Lassa fever. Troops kill 974 terrorists. Okay, we've seen that before. Zulum wants on merging Army Varsity with NDA, says it will help Boko Haram. Senate approves bill to extend NAS workers' service to 65 years. Reps propose mandatory drug test, okay, for school students. Okay, we've seen that also. All right, which of the stories?
Virtually all the newspapers have carried the news.
The same story.
The same story of Tinubu getting angry with NLC. Okay,
can we take the health indicator that we see here? Benue confirming 9 deaths, and the 9 deaths is a result of cases of Lassa fever.
Lassa fever.
You know, there's 46 cases presently, but 9 are dead already.
Reported cases.
Yes.
Reported cases. Yeah. Yes, I think not just the federal government, even the state governments, I think they should look into that issue to know, because a lot of people are living unhealthily. Unhealthy living is much. People are living in crowded places, stuffy places. So if you get to some environments, you see the kind of stuffy environments people are living in, you'll be like, oh my God. So people are comfortable sleeping in this kind of environment. I think there is need for our health system to be more ready, or rather let us encourage the society to inform of any sickness that they should report to the hospital. Because the truth, what I'm afraid of is the issues of non-reported deaths on this Lassa fever. Yes, because from reports, it is obvious that Lassa fever is actually increasing. But for our health ministries, our federal government ministries, I think they are on it now.
Okay, yes. And don't you think other states should do something or be alerted that this is happening?
This is happening. That is why I said it's not just the federal government, including the state governments. Okay. Yes, to sensitize the people more, sensitize our communities more, including maybe the president generals of town unions should be notified, to be briefed from time to time about health conditions or what is happening in our health society. I think it is necessary that government incorporates it now.
In fact, a lot of things when, you know, in this country, the number of years I've lived, there is something I've come to notice. some good things that we used to do, we tend to drop them. Like all this sanitation, people moving from house to house to ascertain how arid your environment is. I remembered when I was a child, they came to our house, and my grandmother, they were telling us not to urinate at the back of the house. And my grandmother said, in my own house, you call and tell me where to urinate and where. It's funny actually, but that is the way to.
Society.
Yes, you know, but they were going. They were going round, you know, looking at people's environment, you know, how it is, whether it's healthy, it's not healthy. Those things are no longer in place these days. Okay, all right, let's move on. The Nation newspaper is next in our lineup. Let's see stories making their headlines in front of the Nation. Tinubu, Labour's constant strike calls unacceptable. Okay, we've seen that before. We have other stories there. Ayeda Tiwa, Akintere clash over allegation of billboards destruction. Okay. Jay's Bank eyes 10 billion naira from private investors. Osime Oshoala top Pitch Awards nominees. It's time to protect yourselves with spiritual power. Oni tells Obas. Restructuring necessary now than ever, says Shoyinka. You know why I was laughing? There's something you said earlier here. You said that most of our leaders are no longer have outgrown, or they are now bigger than some basic needs of housing, clothing, and food. And I was laughing because maybe that's why these people are fighting over destruction of billboards in the face of economic hardship in the land. Look at what they are fighting for. You know, I don't know.
I've taken time to observe what I just said when I said it, because a lot of people, our politicians have crossed a level. They have attained a level of life that if you are talking about the poor, now if you are talking about the basic things of life, food, shelter, and clothing, they don't seem to understand that people are suffering, people are going through these things. That
people cannot feed.
That people cannot feed. They say you will be like ordinary feeding. But that ordinary feeding is difficult for a lot of people.
A lot of people.
Of course. So Nigerians must
go. One penta of gari is 2.5.
It's 2.5. Imagine.
And rice, 80-something thousand.
80-something thousand. I was talking with somebody last night in the evening. He was telling me that he just stopped work. He just resigned from his place of work. I was like, why? He said his salary is 30,000 naira. And his cost of transportation from where he lives to his workplace is 1,150 naira every day. So the cost of transportation only. So if you calculate like 28 days in a month, you will discover that the cost of or 26 days, you discover that the transportation have consumed the salary is earning already, not talk of feeding and other things. So he was like, he just resigned from his place of work, and so his employer was like, why not do this and wait a little? Well, he was asking me if he waits, what is he going to be doing? How is he going to feed his family? That he hasn't even paid his students' school fees, and exam is fast approaching. These are challenges.
Okay, let's look at this story. I don't know. I don't know what actually is going on in this nation. Oni is telling the Obas.
I wanted to talk about his spiritual power.
It's now time to protect yourselves with spiritual power.
That's the problem of Africa. That's the problem of Africa, because a lot of people have come to buy that idea. A lot of people have believe in spirituality instead of physical approach to issues and challenges facing us. If they get spiritual power, what is going to happen to their subjects? If they have spiritual power, even the spiritual power has its extent. So a lot of people, like somebody was asking, if Israel was to be praying, what would have happened to them? So I think that the truth is that there is need to the major challenge of Nigeria is insecurity. I think that is the fundamentals of the problems in Nigeria. I think our leaders should focus on physical approach to insecurity, to the challenges of insecurity in Nigeria, than looking for spiritual powers.
Okay. All right, I think let's go back a bit to Daily Independent. There's a story there I would want us to look at before, because I think most of our papers here, okay, there's a story. Okay, Senate makes U-turn, extend service years for NAS directors. Okay, Tinubu's 4 out of 5 nominees are CBN Board of Directors. Let's look at that story, because I think the extension of their years of service says 60. They say 66 years or 60 years. I think it's in one of the papers here. All right, but go on. I will bring
I think it should be from 60 to 65 years.
Okay.
Yes, I think it should be from 60 to 65 years. So it is not only for National Assembly staffs also. There are a lot of people agitating for extension of service, because the truth is that a lot of people are retiring when they are not tired yet, and how the society is.
Okay, what happened to others that will be tired at that age?
That's the problem.
They will remain
That's
there.
where the issue is. When they are tired, they can't go, and they will be sustaining. They will just let us be around. The thing is that there is hunger, there is no security. People are afraid of retiring from their job. People are afraid of what next am I going to do when I retire? So a lot of things. Our society, the Nigerian society, need a lot of approach.
That means there are some people that are not even planned. They've not planned for their retirement.
They've not planned for their retirement. Thank you. Okay. They didn't have any plan for that.
So they are afraid to retire.
They are not even sure that their retirement benefits will be paid. Okay. And a lot of people see every day what pensioners go through in this country. So they are afraid of joining that league of people who will come and sit down in front of government house begging for at least 2 months out of the 1 year that is being owed to them. A lot of our pensioners are not being treated well, so people are not happy. People are afraid of joining the league of pensioners. That's what's happening in Nigeria.
Okay. Let's take a look at this story. Draft report of constitution amendment ready. August. I don't know. It is August this year. So will be issued with new constitution.
New constitution.
Or amended constitution.
Amended constitution. Yeah. You know, Nigeria, we feel that our constitution is our major problem. So virtually after every election, we must amend our constitution. But I still think that our constitution, the way it is, if it is followed properly, it is still okay. Well, let us wait till August. Let us see what is going to be.
Okay, you know, when we started, I was like, it seems everything is happening at the same time in this country. There's a story we did not touch. When we read the Daily Times, it says fuel scarcity looms as Russia halts petrol export to Nigeria and others. So we are buying fuel now at the almost 800 naira per
yes,
liter.
Almost 800 naira
and
per
this
liter.
morning, somebody said it to my hearing that the gas, I have not bought gas before, that gas is being sold at 2,000 plus. This morning, I heard it. I don't know how true it is. But that is, well, I'm going to confirm that when I leave this studio. Okay, now, with the way things are going, and this one meets us. I wonder what will become of the average Nigerian.
Average Nigerian. That is what I'm talking about. See, okay, now we are not relying on foreign nations. We are relying on people to sell fuel to us when we have the crude oil. That is what we are talking about. The production. We don't produce. We are not relying on them. So Russia will not regulate us. Before you know, America too will also regulate us. And if they cut their supply, because they want to supply to their own people also. So I pray that Nigeria will navigate all these challenges coming. But there must be re-strategizing. There must be President Tinubu must sit up to the challenges facing the country. It is not just about condemning. It's not just about condemning the NLC. Because if there is more fuel scarcity, I don't think that NLC will still keep quiet.
All right. At this point, we'd like to thank you so much for
we also forgot to congratulate Punch newspaper for 50 years.
I think I said congratulations to them. Okay, you can go ahead and do that.
Let's just congratulate Punch newspaper.
At
It has been
50.
50 years of
It's no mean
excellent
feat.
service. Yeah, of course.
All right. All right, at this point, we'd like to thank you so much, Comrade Ifeanyi Emeka David, for coming
Thank
on
you.
the press review.
Thank you very
so
much.
much.
Thank
When we
you.
call you again, we believe you'll be here.
All right.
All right, thank you so much. And that's just about it on the press review. We have more coming up on Good Morning Anambra Show. Do stay with us.